Welcome back to the Super Tournament.
Epic.
We just finished up a great TVT there. Innovation overcoming time, but the games were very good. Really happy to see time even take the game off Innovation. That's huge.
Fantastic series. Don't forget, we have an offline event going on. If you are at the studio, keep your ticket. At the end, we have something called Lucky Draw, aka a raffle. And if your ticket gets called out, you win something, and it could be a GSL jersey.
That's right, the lucky draw. Unlike the other thing we do, the unlucky draw, where the winner gets poisoned. So you chose the right time.
But do I have to take the poison? I'm like, well, I guess not, but you're no fun.
Yeah. Are you going to play or what?
Yeah.
So, we are going to go to Classic versus aLive.
Dude, this match is amazing. Classic and aLive both in the running for BlizzCon. One of them will have their hopes dashed. aLive had such an early, a strong year early on, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
In the Super Tournament.
Second place in that Super
That's
Tournament.
right.
He was killing nerds left and right. He was looking like one of the top Terrans. Kind of fell off since then. Classic, he's kept himself alive just barely in these runnings. He's one of the lower ranked guys, so not only does he need to do well here in this tournament, but he needs SOS certainly to not do well.
Yes, all he can do is bring his best here now. And dude, we see our two players splitting off here. We're going to hop right into this. Again, these are best of fives, by the way, guys.
I do want to point out, Classic, the win toss, as I like to call him. This guy has 2 BlizzCon top 4s. So if he makes it through, he's a serious contender. Like
Absolutely.
Aside from SOS, he has the most experience, really, right?
Yeah. Classic. Definitely a guy that you got to respect. If you've been following Protoss and StarCraft 2 for a long time, this is one of the guys who's been the building blocks for how we understand the way this race can operate, what it's capable of doing, sometimes what it's not capable of doing. By the way, aLive is about as old school as you get in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
If there's ever a StarCraft 3 we're casting in aLive, there will be like, okay, this is like one of the OGs from StarCraft 2. How many tournaments have we cast where aLive wasn't there, Artosis? Not that many.
He's always been around, dude. That is for sure.
He's always been active. He's, I think, steadily improved. As you were saying, he really had a big showing the start of this year. Mm-hmm. But as the game got a bit more mapped out, it seems like we eventually saw aLive not sink to the bottom at all, but get pushed slightly to the back.
Yeah.
With more of the 4 horsemen up here in the front.
Yeah.
A few other additions in there as well. But there was a period where aLive looked like he might be the next guy, the next big Terran that we're all following, trying to figure out what he's going to do and how he plays.
No, he was just fantastic, and people were talking about him as one of the top Terrans. He's fallen off a little bit, but he's here to fight, to try to stay alive, and to do a good job. As you can see, just recently he's lost 2 Classic. In fact, a lot of his TVPs have not gone his way.
Yeah, he's been having a harder time with the matchup. aLive, similar to Gumiho, was somebody who figured out and engineered a lot of very unique ways to open up against the Protoss, to start throwing punches early on. A lot of times we thought of Terrans as a race that has to at least stay back for a little bit and defend, but these guys have shown that you can be aggro. Of course, that was exactly how aLive fell, if you remember, in the last game of the Super Tournament.
Yeah.
Gunned down mid-flight with a drop.
Yeah.
Pretty much took all the wind out of his sails in that game, and that was it. So let's see if he's going to bring back some of the techniques and styles that worked well in especially the Super Tournament last time, or if he's got a new adjusted play style to go on against Classic with.
GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
In the bottom right, in the blue.
Classic.
And his opponent here in the upper left in the red, he is
My Insanity, aLive.
Tasteless.
Yes, Artie.
Who do you favor here, actually? Who do you think takes this match down?
I think Classic does. I feel bad saying that.
Yeah.
But I just think that he's in slightly better shape right here, right now,
Okay.
Than aLive. But I would be very pleasantly surprised if aLive took down Classic.
I actually agree with you that I think Classic will take it. And I want him to. I want Classic to possibly get that last spot. I mean, obviously, SOS is a great 8th player to have there, being a 2-time champion. But you know, Classic's one of these guys that has semi-quietly won a ton of tournaments.
Right.
He's been one of the very best for so long. It's just, but he never quite gets the respect that I think he truly deserves.
You know, we've been casting so many of these guys for so long, and sometimes the place I feel like I have to put the most focus on for each player is somebody like aLive, where I've been used to him. Gumiho is somebody as well I had to be careful with for this too, because Gumiho is another person who's been around since the beginning. And then you see a moment where you go, wait a minute, that looks a little bit better. And then the time after that, you go, that looks a little bit better too.
Yeah.
Because anybody who's been following StarCraft 2 for a while probably has kind of the same opinion a lot of people do about aLive. Like, he's very good, but you don't necessarily, if you're like most people, like, expect him to win or get far. But he's caused some serious upsets and played very well. And I wanted to be really cognizant of that going through 2017 to identify, okay, can he keep that going? And it seems like he slipped off a little bit.
He did.
In the second half of the year. But there's still an opportunity to prove himself here now. This is a different beast, by the way, guys. You have one match a day.
Yes, that is true. And, well, the guys from today don't play tomorrow because we play the other round.
But you only have one big match a day for the tournament, basically, that you're playing.
Well, unless you get to the round of 4 and then the finals, and then you play those in the same day.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, Tasteless?
Okay. Let me rephrase that. So there are these tournaments.
Tasteless is a tree, and I'm a lumberjack. Come on, keep them coming, buddy.
The IM that we had.
Yes.
That was something where you were going through tons of players. Mm-hmm. This one is not as spread out as a GSL.
Okay.
Where you have you got a week off, now go assemble a new strat.
Yeah.
But it's like somewhere in the middle. It's the Goldilocks tournament.
The Goldilocks tournament.
All right.
Okay.
That's what the Super Tournament is. The Goldilocks tournament.
Got you.
This tournament is too big and fast. This tournament is too long and slow. The Super Tournament. This tournament is just right.
Oh, man. I like it. It's nice to have a kind of a mixture of all these as well, I have to say.
But, you know, aLive did do well in the last one we had. And so maybe the way that his mind works and, you know, he's kind of okay facing off against anybody. Mm-hmm. Can't do it from noon to 10 p.m. winning all day, but he can win one serious series.
Sure.
And get that far. So maybe we'll have some success with him here today. Maybe that's just kind of his level.
By the way, I need to point out what these builds are. This is like really super duper interesting to see because it's a 3 barracks play coming out of aLive, which is not super common. It is a legitimate build. You have a ton of bio early on, but obviously you don't really have a lot of tech units, right? Now, he's not scouting until the Phoenix. This is such an important scout that he's getting right now, but he did not send his Oracle over. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about that, but just to make this completely clear, Classic keeps more Oracles at home than every other Protoss Pro put together. He really likes defensive Oracle play quite often. And if you keep the Oracle at home, basically no drops can ever do anything to you. It's like you're just kind of invincible, but you're not getting any damage done. So he did not see this as coming. He went for that very fast 3rd Nexus, and now he's really got to keep track of where these Marines are at, man, because there's a lot of them.
Okay, the Marines are edging up now. 2 Phoenixes in with the mix. It's about 11 seconds till Stim is done. Is aLive going to go for it? He's got a second group of Marines coming down now.
I don't know about
south.
that split.
I do not know about that split at
that
all.
Split
because
doesn't seem right.
That seems like you would lose on both fronts. But let's see what's here to actually defend. The Marines are coming in now.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this little stem run is soon. Okay, a lot of SCVs are actually going down somewhere, somehow, during all of this. 3 probes have fallen, but these Marines will eventually be cleared out. 12 SCVs dead at home.
Wow.
Oh, man. We don't even know exactly what occurred there, I guess.
I assume something shaded in there.
Maybe it was the Oracle.
Could have been. Well, if we don't see it over here in this fight, I guess you're right. It's not there. It's got to be something to be used somehow.
I mean, if that many SCVs died that quickly, I feel like it was the Oracle. Like, I think you keep your Adepts at home to deal with with all these Marines. But this was good enough defense by Classic, I think, Tasteless. He's got his Glaives in +1. They're going to be finishing up. His third base has been going for a long time, so even though he lost 8 probes, I don't think it really bothers him, especially considering he killed 12 SCVs. This is looking strong right now for Classic.
Yeah, aLive now getting his third base up here. We'll see if Classic decides this is a moment where he can actually poke in. He's not stopping with the Phoenixes, by the way. There's more coming out of the Stargate. And Glaives is about to finish. Now, aLive wants to come in again. This could be very bad. If it gets caught by the Phoenixes before it unloads, you can see in this case he had his Phoenixes split up to first try to see if he could find them. But with enough depths on the ground, I mean, there's no way he gets in there.
Yeah.
There's no way you can unload that stem and win a ground fight with the depths and an air fight with Phoenixes, and the possibility of that being lifted if you start to get an edge on the ground.
Yeah, and to beat a dead horse that has now rotted and, in fact, like his bones have been made into glue and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't be aggressive early game against Phoenix Adept as Terran.
Well, we were talking about this a lot. I know a lot of people were kind of going a little crazy online about, like, how do you stop Phoenix Adept? And some of it was just these guys that just did not take a hint. They keep moving out.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, Phoenixes, which apparently, you know, they can kill air units. That's one of their features.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird?
That's a feature that they have.
And Adepts can chase things with their shades.
Yes,
Isn't that weird too?
yes. And so you see people continuously attack into them.
Yeah,
and then what would happen was, like, some people were kind of going almost like a little bit too nuts online, like, you can't stop this. And I'm thinking, okay, the Terran does not have to attack. Terran can get a more sophisticated army later on here, but they weren't doing it. So the army's now moved out. Terran's army has. So this counterattack over here going to do a good amount of damage, taking out that one mine. Looks like he was thinking about trying to shade up top, but instead going to target down about 11 SCVs, make that 12. Another shade is going to be inbound. We're going to try to relocate again. Might want to even back away from these Marauders now.
Dude, he's playing like a really, really good game.
Look at this.
Right
He's put these all of these Adepts in different locations to see if he couldn't get more workers in other parts of the map.
So, I mean, the thing is, aLive is playing counter to how you need to play against Phoenix Adept.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound preachy, but I do. Like, against Phoenix Adept, you can't be moving out at small supplies. You need to get your units together. Phoenix Adept does not scale as well as a bigger technical Terran army.
That's right. If you have enough mines as well, it really hurts the Phoenix Adept. Not to mention, just if you have enough Marines there that can stem, do you know how much damage you're doing? Yeah, so quickly.
And, you know, Marauders take a lot of hits from Adepts, things like that.
Certainly.
You know, you start mixing in Liberators. I mean, just getting a more technical army. But, you know, aLive was out on the map, and we see, I mean, the first attack I'm totally cool with. I think it's a good idea. He tried it, didn't work out. He lost a bunch of SCVs, unfortunately.
When he split the Marines up in 2 different locations, well, he was going in there and expecting to do damage and possibly just lose those.
I think that's a good move. But this second attack where he was like kind of out there, and then he loses 12 more SCVs, not a fan of that move.
Okay, great job there getting that War Prism. Liberator coming down here now to try to gun down some of these SCVs. I believe we have a drop unloading in the top center. I'm not sure. In fact, it might be being chased away. I don't know if it suffered any losses.
Well, it looks like it's kind of going home right now, but I do like this Liberator quite a bit. Killing 4 probes. Some Stalkers do get warped in here to deal with it. Oh, nice move there.
Whoa. The blink play.
Yeah.
Clutch.
So
that's going in his highlight reel for sure.
Yeah.
We have some more Adept harass coming in now. You can see aLive has been a little bit cautious to not send his whole army in for risk of losing that. Although, like you and I were saying, Artosis, I think he could have had a bigger one later on if he had saved some of this. So Protoss, with a very large supply now, is going to move out here.
The army of aLive, though, is getting pretty legit overall. You see Jump Liberator, the rest of his army coming in. A huge stem.
Big reinforcements coming here from behind with a lot of Marauders down here. Another huge warp-in comes in. The Phoenix count has been slimmed down, but overall, the Protoss ground army is still pretty scary. It has to be respected.
Oh, but he should not be fighting here under these Liberators.
No.
This is very tough indeed, and aLive starts to swing this battle back into his own favor.
Tenacity of aLive still around here in the second Super Tournament we have of the year. He's going to try to keep both these bases safe. Now, Protoss has enough Adepts as well as the War Prism that you can hit from different areas, but I think aLive can be okay. Now, there is a big supply differential here. But as long as aLive lasts and keeps teching up and getting a more complex army, you should be okay. You just can't lose too many workers. Can't lose too many key tech units either.
Look at this. These 2 adepts, just 2 adepts at a time. He's ripping apart the economy here of aLive, getting rid of 2 healthy mules, some SCVs there as well. Very well done. By the way, look at his transition, right? He's starting to get some Prism harassment done. While he's doing this, he's switching to Colossus. He knows he's keeping his opponent busy. 2 adepts at the 4th base, 2 adepts at the 3rd base, 2 adepts in the main base. He's really keeping aLive busy during all of this.
When I say this, I mean this in the best way possible. This is the bare minimum of a number of units you can use where Terran really has to react right away.
16 SCVs going down. That's crazy damage.
And it's basically aLive losing a game of like whack-a-mole here, where, you know, these adepts pop up here and he's got to get his hammer out and hit him there. But all of a sudden, you know, adepts pop up at his other bases. And the amount of money Protoss loses by just sending 2 adepts out is like nothing compared to the amount of money that you lose with workers dying.
Now you're so happy. Like, the adepts, even just keeping Terran home while you're transitioning, that's worth it. But on top of it, 19 SCVs, oh man, sign me up.
Okay, he never saw this.
Ooh,
wow.
Nice mine hit, nice mine
More
hit.
probes hit.
But look at this, he's getting a lot of Colossus now.
I mean, Artosis Classic is maxed out.
Yeah.
I think this is time for him to attack in here.
Absolutely.
Those units are going to be able to warp in, too. It's not like he's got to wait for those to come back across the map from something else. So he's going to come through here, and I actually think this base at the north is basically naked.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything to defend here. There's like a turret and a mine.
Oh, but the Colossus in the back a little bit there. He might lose 1 or 2 of them. One of them goes down, the other one does definitely take quite a bit of damage. And the fact that he picked off 2 Liberators before any fighting started, such a big deal here. The real, like, kind of late game counter to this, the best that really we can see aLive do from this point is ranged Liberators, which he has at this point. But having 2 picked off, it makes it a lot harder on him.
Okay, aLive has to hold on right now. Huge supply depression now, 126 to 87. The Liberators are being gunned down immediately. The SCV's disappearing. And there are just a few Marauders left. And it looks like aLive was unable to hang on. GG Classic takes game number 1.
Really super solid play out of Classic here. Really the entire game. Very, very well done here on Odyssey.
So let's go back to that theme we were talking about earlier. And I know there were a lot of sodium nerds.
I think people have understand at this point, like,
people get it now.
Adept is not that popular even anymore because people did figure this out.
But at the time, if you remember, when aLive was stopped by a lot of Phoenix Adept, it seemed to be something people had not come to terms with. It's just because Terran were used to always dropping early game and always being aggressive and boosting away.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can keep doing it when the player that you're up against is literally making the units to counter it.
It's very tough. The second move out again. Really, that's the one I want to be critical of here. Maybe because he lost to 12 SCVs, he felt like he had to make something happen.
It's possible.
I mean, that's playing devil's advocate, I guess, against our point. But anyways, he loses there to Phoenix Adept. That won't necessarily be what this series comes down to. Ascension to Ire, our next map.
GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
In the bottom right, in the blue, he is.
Classic.
And in the upper left, in the red.
My Insanity aLive.
Right. It's a big, big map. Looks like no proxy play or anything going on at the moment.
Yeah, let's see what aLive's got for us here. You know, he's a guy that you really got to feel for him because he's been here. I mean, this has been over 7 years of StarCraft 2 now. This game has been out for a while, Artosis.
Yeah, it has.
You and I have been here casting his games in Korea, outside Korea. But I feel like he has never quite hit his big break. And these are the players I feel the most for.
Yeah.
You know, they've been playing with the same guys. Their peers have had more success than them. Classic's one of those guys.
Oh, that he's one of the guys
That's had more success than
Oh,
Live.
yeah. I thought you were saying he's one of the guys that hasn't. I'm like, how do I break into this guy's won multiple tournaments around the world?
No.
Yeah, no, you're very right. Like, Classic he came into StarCraft 2 even later than aLive, right?
Exactly.
And he's won tournaments. He's up at the top a lot, as we mentioned before. 2 BlizzCon top 4s, but here aLive is, and he has some great results in there too.
Yeah, it's not like he's bad, okay? Like, nobody's saying that.
He has some top 4s, some top 2s.
He hasn't quite
hit
got that big break that so many other players have had, and you got to think he wants it.
Yeah.
He really, really wants it, but competition is tough out here, and he's always managed to stay in that top echelon.
Yeah, especially this year early on, he was like really looking like one of the very best in the world. But StarCraft 2 in some ways has become a lot harder for everyone. Like, since the Kespa team dissolution, like, a lot of pros have come out and said, like, it's kind of weird. Like, I was kind of lazy before. I had a paycheck, a place to live. I was always fielding for all these games. And now everyone is kind of like, you got to win all the time, man. And everyone, the skill jump that we've had this year is crazy in Korea. Like, everyone is playing out of their minds well.
It's true, and there's just it's a lot of kind of the one-man army concept. Like, can you hold yourself up by your own weight here?
Yeah.
Not we need one guy to do well for 6 months, and then someone else to do well. Maybe it'd be ideal if we all played well, but without you being all tethered together, it suddenly does put a lot more pressure on a pro gamer.
Yeah, it does.
They've had to get their own methods to practice and prepare. By the way, we have a Dark Shrine coming up here.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? And it's not even a DT drop, because that Robo is a lot later, so it's just kind of like straight DT.
That's what I found to be most interesting about it. And are we going to have...
It's just like not a build that you see. It's very interesting, because like occasionally you'll see a DT drop. But just like
if the Robo's later, then the order's off, and this is all obviously clearly intentional.
Yeah, it's not like he's making a mistake. But here's the thing, right? Like, you're not really expecting DTs to be hitting your base at the time this will be hitting. So if he hits it right when mules come down, you can suddenly do so much damage. He's also up a game. This is where you could cut the legs out from underneath of aLive's mentality.
Well, it's funny because this is, like you were saying, sort of not really a build. Like, not, it's like, okay, well, all right. It's a very modest rush at that.
Yeah.
But then again, who does this, right?
Dude, he just made his eBay.
It's not that normal. I wonder if he's got it timed out. So there's 53 energy on one. So one will 100% go down.
Okay, so he'll
he got the second one in. That's the most important part.
Dude, this is serious damage already.
Okay.
5 kills already, 6 kills. Oh, my God.
This actually looks like, I know if you guys have been following us at ASL, the Brood War tournament we've been doing, this looks like a Brood War build, to be honest.
Yes, it very much
Proxied Dark Templar Rush.
Well, you know what?
And usually that's not, I mean, the thing about that is that gets there at a very scary moment for Terran, but he doesn't have detection yet. So here comes that next DT. Goodbye, SCV. This is so much damage.
Serious damage.
This is like probably not even a build that's really that used on the ladder.
Oh my God!
So it's
this build I don't even know.
It's an outside the meta build.
Yeah.
And so this is usually where if you do this on the ladder, they pause the game and say you're garbage. It's not even how you're supposed to play the game.
Yeah.
And then they leave.
Well, you know what?
But this is actually, in this case, it's really smart. Look at this. Like, aLive doesn't expect this. He's got every scan mapped out perfectly for anything that's within the realm of normality.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense in a way when you think about it. Taste. The StarCraft Remaster was just released. Classic was a StarCraft 1 Terran Pro. He launched. He's like, hey, let me play some games for old time's sake. This build happened to him in StarCraft 1. He's like, why don't I just use this against aLive in SuperTournament? Here he is with that many SCV kills. It's crazy.
Now, hold up. This is a lot down here, and the DT is not going to be able to help out for the time being. One Marauder, a lot of Marines, but as well as a Widowmine there. He should be able to get this Nexus over here.
Yeah.
But, it's funny, Artos, I do wonder if the choice of this build order is somewhat related to StarCraft Remastered coming out, because it looks so much like a DT Rush build for Brood War.
Yeah, it does.
That it's almost... I don't know, man. I mean, he might have actually tried it out. Classic playing any Protoss game, they'd be like, no, you know, some of this is sort of there. So he's not going to get the Nexus, I don't think. If the enough Stalkers come up here, because Classic's in very good shape. The worker count right now, it's 34 to what was to 50.
Ooh,
Boom, takes that out.
snipe right there. I'm surprised he held the Nexus, to be honest. I thought for sure he'd be able to kill that off. But he did some good damage. He picked off like some sentries, damaged the Nexus quite a bit. Maybe he'll be able to finish it later.
Oh, look at that. One lone pylon or so.
That singular pylon?
That one singular pylon.
What if you were to lose that?
Oh.
It'd be a big deal.
If only we had a word for something that's in the game like this so we could capture the idea. I will say, I'm starting to be a little bit worried here for aLive. I appreciate what he's trying to do with this harass, but he's basically feeding into his opponent right now.
Yeah, well, I think this game for sure, he's probably looking at this and saying, I took too much damage. And when you go DTs early and you make that many DTs, yeah, you've hurt their economy, but that is super expensive to do. So Protoss is always light on units at that point. So I like that he is trying to get damage done. I think it's a good idea for him to try to get this damage done. It's just the defense of Classic has been a little bit too good for him.
Yeah.
And this is not like an aLive fault thing. He just took so much damage from those DTs.
Well, aLive is doubling down with the aggression, hoping the Classic might try to push out and he can come stomp on him during one of these attacks. We have another attack coming in here right now. Looks like the mine is gunned down just before it can actually burrow, and the drop as he attempts to escape. Barely saved there by aLive, but oh, he's like over this pylon. This is just not. This is not going well. And Glaves is finishing here, and the amount of muscle the Classic has acquired while deflecting the drops and doing that damage with the DT, slowing down the economy of aLive here.
Yeah,
this is looking very good for him.
Well, there are some things for aLive that are pretty good, right? He's going to have 1-1 before Classic has any upgrades, so that's definitely a big deal, especially when you consider there's no splash damage on the map. He's sitting here basically with gateway units and an Immortal or two, and so when you take all that into consideration, if Terran is ahead of you in upgrades, splash damage becomes even more important, and just as you get to high supplies, it can be a very important thing. So there are some things working in aLive's favor here. It's just tough because Classic has had these 3 bases for a long time. The economy of aLive was hurt early on.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to say that aLive is dead here, but this is going to be a tough one, man. I'm definitely feeling it for Classic now, but yeah, let's see how the next couple engages go. He is going to keep teching up. I mean, when you have enough of those Liberators, sometimes you just got to be in the right spot.
Yeah.
aLive has calmed down with some of these crazy drops he was going for before. Classic steadily continuing to expand over here. It seems like there's a Liberator position over there, probably to go for that expansion when Classic eventually takes it. So he's got some positioning set up over here. If you're just now joining us here at the SuperTournament, we saw a very unusual DT rush here from Classic. Really keeping the Terran honest to all builds. And
I like that. Now that he has +1 armor, you have to 2 swipe.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not as effective there. Now we have this Warp Prism drop coming up here. Now, in the previous game, Classic would split with the bare minimum amount of Adepts just to make sure that he's keeping the Terran from moving his workers around.
Now the Adepts will be cleaned up here. Not too much damage dealt to him this time. So good defense there by aLive. And as these supplies go up and he continues to add Liberators 2 at a time, I'm starting to like it a little bit more for aLive than at least compared to where he was at previously. When you're just kind of sitting here on mostly gateway units, you really got to be active on the map and not let the Liberator-based army get position on you. You know, like if he gets up near a base and sieges, you're not going to save that base with gateway units unless you are infinitely ahead, and he's not as far as army supply goes.
Speaking of which, here comes that moment now. Liberator in position over where those probes are. Don't see a reaction just yet here from the Protoss. Now the Liberator moving southbound. Classic seems interested in picking a bigger fight, one of more impact, as he's moving out here now.
Oh, that's a sick Liberator right there.
Yeah, and it's slowly whittling down the probe count. Now this is not a planetary, so this is a much more susceptible location here. Keep in mind where the sentries are too. He gets a few good force fields off, and this army's bunched up over there. There it is now. Now he targeted down the Immortal, which is definitely fine. That's definitely the unit. If you had to kill off one thing, you'd want to go for that. But aLive also can't reclaim this position.
Yeah, it's going to take him a little bit to be able to do that.
I don't think he's going to commit with this. This
No,
has to be a feint.
I don't think so, especially with 2 more libs coming up.
Yeah.
He has to just sit there. And aLive will eventually be able to retake this. This is some good poking with those Marauders there. He can push up with the Liberators, and eventually it's going to be his base.
Overall, though, I like it. It forced aLive to then sit back on 2 bases, workers mining in locations they don't really want to be at. aLive, though, with a pretty respectable army of his own. Definitely some mobility on his side here. But this also keeps really aLive off of Classic's case. And now with some more Templars coming in here, I think he can hold this position. Coming in now, Liberation Zone's yet to be set up.
All right, but as they do get set up, he has to get out of there. That is a lot of Liberators right now. In fact, the Bioforce looking absolutely fantastic. He's up 1 upgrade right now with those Liberators coming in.
Oh
and
my
this
God.
is not going to work for Classic.
The Templars are too late. Unable to come in here and reinforce. It's just a simpler Tier 1 army for Protoss against a much scarier buffed up army here for aLive. This game's seesawing now as we get the attention over to Classic side of the map.
Well, he has Psystorm now, so he's going to have a little bit easier time fighting. See a nice Psystorm or 2 already going off here, picking off some units. Still, though, what a big army here for his opponent. aLive walking across the map, marauding, as some might say. And Classic, I don't know if he's ready for this, Tasteless. Look at this.
This is the problem, is it with this many Liberators?
Yeah.
And he can move very fast here. I'm not sure if aLive can be stopped from completely shutting this down. In fact, where's the rest of his army? Oh, okay, it's coming in from above. Nice storm, so
yeah.
if there were storms he could have, those would be the ones. The rest of the Terran army now down here. Now, some of these mines are being taken out. Looks like he does stop, unpower some of these structures over here. 18 kills.
Well, you know what? He cleans the army out at least, and that's actually super duper valuable.
Well,
the strength of his army was the Liberators and Bio together, but he kind of split them up there and definitely took some damage, but at least he's dealing damage to the economy of Classic now.
He's also chasing out these probes. Classic scrambling to try to take out the remainder of this so he can start to stabilize here. Overall worker count right now is 53 to 46 with aLive in a slight lead. And again, a lot of this moving from the left side of the map over to the right came down to the fact that aLive had Templars, but did not have them. I'm sorry, Classic had Templars, but did not get them where the army was.
Yeah.
He wanted to set up some kind of a siege position where the command center couldn't quite land, and he could blanket that area with storms if the infantry tried to stim and run in.
Yeah.
That's the soft spot of the army. If you storm down those infantry units, they're all dead in a little bit, and then you can blink underneath the Liberators and gun them down, and it's pretty easy to reinforce. But aLive shut it down right before it managed to really cement.
Well, he went across the map, got some great damage done in the game. I mean, this is a solid game these two are playing against each other. Definitely a little bit of tit for tat going on. The early lead going to Classic. aLive coming back pretty strong with that army. You know, a little bit like where he sieged the Liberators and stemmed his army away. It's like, well, 4 Liberators are just like 4 Broodlords or 4 Lurkers or 4 Siege Tanks or 4 Colossus. Alone, they're weak, but with the army, they're strong. So did end up getting a little bit cleaned out there. I feel like that could have been a bit more damage from aLive, but he's fought back valiantly now and even has his +3 attack.
Terran scanning on the map, trying to just reclaim some map control. He identifies there's nothing here to spot him, no observer of the army. Insta picks up. He's making a direct line attack towards the main. This is really where everything production-wise is for Protoss. The gateways, the robos, you name it.
Man, definitely can get some serious damage done here, but no, a very quick reaction coming out of Classic.
Okay, good shutdown there.
Yeah.
Oh, great play too. Because as this is happening, there's still a Warp Prism on the map. He's still shitting around, taking out SCVs wherever he can.
Shades up into this 3rd base location, just picking off a few Widow Mines. Got a decent amount of SCVs and stopped some mining there for a while as well. You also see that aLive is like 1 tech step behind his opponent here. He's going for Ghost now, which he does need, but there's already Colossus out, which are going to help you out in that situation, so it's harder to get those EMPs onto the High Templars. So Classic still has a very good, well-teched out army here.
We're getting to the point in a TVP like this where they're both, by no fault of their own, consistently spread too thin.
Yeah.
Because you've taken so much of the map and you're most likely expanding towards the edges of the map, especially if you've been pushing each other versus really just trying to do pure drops.
Well, this is the beauty of Legacy of the Void as well, right? Like, the economy runs out, you have to expand. There's a lot of good harassment options.
You end up stretching out.
Yeah.
However, this big push coming here from Classic. Classic seems pretty confident. He's basically completely knocked that CC out of being used for the time being. With this comboed with the Colossi here. Oh, and the Storm's absolutely beautiful, mowing down any progression here as aLive is trying to get back into this game. 76 supply to 122. Plenty more storms, though, to go around.
God. Those storms.
It's just too many storms, man.
Dude, without those
That's
storms.
just it, GT.
Yeah, you would have gotten wiped without those storms. That was just the most ridiculous amount of damage. And now you see aLive not looking too happy here, man. He's having a hard time today.
Well,
and if he doesn't go 3-0 from here, he's not going to BlizzCon. That's it.
That was definitely a frustrating loss there for aLive. But again, going back to that build at the start, that crazy DT rush.
Yeah.
It was not normal.
No, you don't normally just see proxy pylon DT. It's certainly not. And you know, aLive fought back really well. He got himself into some advantageous positions throughout this game. So we're seeing that aLive, he's playing some good StarCraft today. It's just, you know, the first game, okay, a couple things went wrong there. He lost too many SCVs when he was attacking against Phoenix Adept. But game 2, we can't really fault him too much, right? Not having your scans or your turrets up for such an early DT. It's kind of way out of the meta. But now he really needs to deliver. This is it. This is do or die time for aLive. His year is, for all intents and purposes, over, right?
Yes.
There's nothing big on the calendar right now for aLive to train for, aside from, you know, GSL 2000, whatever next year is, 18. 2018.
I mean, look, this is...
Spoiler, there's GSL next year. Whoa, Artos has confirmed it.
Kids screaming right now with fingers in their ears. I gotta say, man, this is so crappy for aLive.
Yeah.
I mean, he can win 3 games in a row, but against Classic, that's just so hard.
Yes, it is.
Also, the fact that Classic showing a willingness to do a build that's almost so weird, I would have thought it was SOS doing it. If I had covered up the IDs. Is a little bit scary.
Well,
it's a little bit like, oh man, I really have...
That is kind of a nice thing about Classic. He really has his own way of playing. Like, for instance, the game with you, last game.
Yeah.
Or no, the game before, sorry, with the Oracle that just stayed home. Right? He's got his own style. He definitely plays very different from every other Protoss.
Okay. Going into game 3, it's going to be on the map Acolyte. This does allow for plenty of different openers, but I'm not sure. Other than just basically aLive plays a perfect 3 games in a row, that he can overcome this. Classic is a tricky player.
Yeah.
He, like a lot of these other players, can play his own normal style, but he's got a whole weird Classic style that's super hard to prep with, and that's how you become a great Protoss player. You can do all the ordinary, but you've also got stuff that's so you, that's a reflection of your personality, that's your weird way of seeing the game as a Protoss player, that you can exploit almost any Terran.
Yeah. Nothing textbook about Classic, really. I mean, this guy... You gotta express yourself, man. This is why StarCraft is so beautiful. Because everyone has their original fingerprint, you know? Even innovation, but it looks like a barcode.
Season 2.
Okay, in the upper right.
Classic.
In the bottom left, in the red, he is...
My Insanity, aLive.
Oof. Excited to see what they're going to bust out here on Acolyte. It's definitely one of our more different maps with that back natural that's kind of free.
It's kind of out there.
Yeah.
It actually looks like some of the ASL maps we've used.
Sure. Yeah.
I think Crossing Point
Oh, yeah.
comes to mind. I'm
like
just
that.
wondering.
Right.
We already talked about some of the, now that StarCraft Remastered is out, some of the builds we're seeing look a little bit more like stuff we've seen in StarCraft Remastered, and then some of the stuff in StarCraft Remastered looks a little bit like what we're seeing in StarCraft 2. It's kind of funny.
Well, it's certainly
Oh, there we go. That's an important deadline.
Oh, D-7 for purchase deadline. That's actually it's a big thing. If you guys have not purchased the war chest yet for StarCraft 2, I got homework for you. Go purchase the war chest. It's got just the craziest value for skins. Holy crap.
Yeah.
A lot of really good ones. You can really make your opponent mad with Baneling skins. And, of course, get the Tastosis Announcer Pack.
Yep, definitely check that out, too. If you haven't heard enough of us already, now's your chance to hear even more.
You certainly have.
You certainly have not.
And if you don't like our commentary and you accidentally didn't mute us yet, buy the voice pack and then turn off sound, and that'll really get
It'll
us.
be just like you're watching GSL.
Yeah, it'll really get us,
I like
guys.
the show. I just hate these casters, but you know, how can I make it more like that when I'm playing? So there you go. So we have quick CC back here.
Killing
for a
SCV
while.
with that probe.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's annoying.
You might get the second one, too.
That would have been funny if he didn't finish the CC and had to run.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would have been not fun. It would have been funny for everybody but aLive and anybody who wants him to win Artosis.
Yeah,
is
that's
what that
true.
would have
That's
been.
true.
So this is all par for the course on a map like this.
Classic now, he's going Stargate. Some people, for a very long time, really preferred Adept Prism all-ins against CC first. But Terran's kind of figured out how to hold that. So I really like what he's doing here with the Stargate, because you can very, very easily make an Oracle, force Terran to stay home completely, take a third base, and like just go into massive units, Twilight, all sorts of great stuff.
You know, this map is like you were saying, very different, and I think that's anytime we have something that is radically new in an RTS, and I think this map is pretty weird compared to what a lot of the stuff we're used to.
Yeah, in StarCraft 2, we don't have a lot of maps that look like this at all.
Yeah,
over its history.
So when you have a map like this, what's funny is you get something new. It's usually the most dramatic response is the most effective one to start things out. And as the game goes on, or the meta goes on, and we have more tournaments come out, usually players tend to tone it down because the other guy knows how to hard counter what the player number one is going to do to him. And it seems like this time around, it's much more modest play here by Classic to get one Oracle, keep Terran on the defense, and expand ahead of him.
Yeah, I really like that. This is a good counter overall to CC first. Yeah, they've gotten their economy up and going very quickly, but the Oracle keeps them completely honest, makes some turrets and stuff like that.
Okay, well,
unless you lose it. Okay, gets that out of there. But yeah, I mean, this is solid play and going right into the Forge and Twilight, so a good follow-up there. Whereas aLive, he didn't go into 3 barracks afterwards. Sometimes you see people do that, but teching up just a little bit quicker.
So that Oracle with some permanent bruises. That's the thing about Protoss, man. It's like they have a permanent record. Remember your teacher would tell you had a permanent record, which is actually bullshit? Remember that? Teacher like, I'm like in 3rd grade, like, it's going to go on your permanent record, and you're like, oh no, I don't understand what that is. But well, in Protoss, you do have that. If you take enough damage without your shields, that's softened up forever.
Yeah, that is very true. We need Protoss medics. You're right about that.
That's right. I hope Blizzard's watching. We need a
I know we're getting
we
the
need a
shield battery,
medevac
but come
that
on.
flies above the Oracle that you can't hit. That just they need to have a second line of anti-air.
Imagine having medic units for flying Protoss armies. Imagine how good Void Rays would be again.
Or what you need are special ground units that medevacs can fly into on the ground for Terran. So when they're taking too much, they boost it from the ground. You just load them into that ground thing with the army in there.
Oh my god.
Someone guns down one of those. It's like 25 supply is gone.
I think that you should be able to dock into a floating factory with flying units.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I was
makes
thinking.
sense.
I think all my medevacs should be able to fly into one battlecruiser, and then I can lose the game by just losing one unit. You guys think about that?
But you could also jump away.
It goes. Yeah, I was going to say exactly. I could go warp into another part of the map. Yeah. People are like, oh, isn't my medevacs unload out of there? Then my Marines and Marauders unload out of that.
I think you should be a game designer.
Oh yeah.
When you grow up, if you ever grow up.
Then we talked about the tasteless unit in the game.
Yeah.
The one that can't attack and runs around wearing a blazer, saying your forces are under attack, trying to confuse you. Then only TLO can use it.
It tags these double medevacs. Everything is very well turtled right now for Classic. Not really any chance of him taking significant damage here. He's about to have Glaives done. Great moves.
Yep. Hey. He's not going to be able to save very much of that, too.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot you can do here. He's set up great stasis wards. His glaives is about to finish. He's got +1. You know, he's scouted what aLive was doing and did a good counter build to it. So aLive is just going to have to roll with that. You know, he's taking his 3rd command center, so that's good to see.
Okay. Right now, you can see aLive, based off the last 2 games, being really, really cautious about how he moves on the map. I mean, at this point in time, he just has to play a clean game.
Yeah.
Great job there. He has to be super, super safe.
Yeah.
And that means showing Classic a certain amount of respect on the map. He's not going to try to attack in there unless he knows, at least for the start, the first few drops, he's not going to commit in there unless he knows he can do it.
And I really like where aLive is bringing this right now. He's getting a lot of Liberators and getting a Fusion Core. So I think he's realized that, like, okay, Classic is really making these just ground-pounding armies. They're so strong. And you don't really want to fight against that just with Bio. Going mass Liberators, though, is quite a nice counter indeed.
It is.
Even if they get into Colossus and stuff, if you play a strong positional game, the Liberator Bio Force can fight against that. So he's teching up correctly here, I feel like. You know, this is a good counter to what's going on. Of course, Classic is getting all the tools that he needs at this moment as well. And as this game gets long, if no one like messes up, we might see one of these crazy Supreme late game PvTs.
Yeah, I would hope we could have one of those, at least one in this series. Again, at first aLive has to get to that point in time. It does seem like it could be fast track to it. Classic, by the way, also playing a pretty slow game coming into this, really.
Yeah.
Probably at this point in time knows that basically everything, all odds are in his favor. Just take it nice and slow, sending out some hallucinated Phoenixes to try to scout here, keeping his side of the map clean, waiting for aLive to try to do something.
Well, generally, aLive is a pretty aggressive player. So if he's taking that into consideration, that's why he's kind of sitting back in this 3rd game. I think that's a really smart move. You know, if this was TY he was against, I'd be very worried for him because I know that TY would like play chess against him with these Liberators until he was dead, right? Because if TY gets this portion of the game, Protoss has a very difficult time. But with aLive, I look at him like, he's going to get an army that's really good, and he's going to go try to kill Classic if I had to guess. And in trying to kill somebody, that's where a lot of games, well, obviously are won or lost.
Certainly.
Whether that's for the Terran or against him.
Okay, wow, well that happened. 2 airships high-fiving across the map here. The Liberator is going to keep on the move over here. Now, Terran does see the Warpin coming in, but it looks like these Adepts should be out there before Terran can really do anything. Looks like he's trying to come back, see if he can catch it. 3 more Liberators are going to deny this.
Yeah, very nice catch right there with those Liberators. Would chase it down as well. By the way, Classic has figured out exactly what's going on, so we are going to Supreme late game PvT.
That's right.
He is getting additional starport at this moment and going for a Fleet Beacon. So he's going to be adding in the Tempest so that he can actually fight. Like, if you play against mass range Liberator, you either outmaneuver them or you go Tempest. Those are the only 2 ways to actually beat that strategy. So he's just going to fight head to head. That's it. He's going to have those Tempests and try to gun those down.
And as time passes aLive, it grows further and further. Their supplies are neck and neck. And yeah, I think this is absolutely 100% the correct response here for Classic. Saying, okay, you're going to go to the very, very late game. I'm going to have that answer. Those Tempests already being made.
And now, I mean, Ghosts are being added in, so aLive's doing this as well. He's taking his 4th base.
That's right. I mean, if you don't get enough Tempests out to just respond to the Liberators just leapfrog through the map.
Yeah.
Pretty much bullying the Protoss out of the way and then eliminating whatever location they're looking to get. Kind of funny, you see this one Liberator sent up here. Looks like Protoss, this was the moment Protoss would be itching to move out on the map.
Yeah, that's a super annoying thing to have to deal with, especially because of that range upgrade.
Well, also when you're this close to maxing out, sometimes you don't have anything to warp in over there.
That's true.
That's sometimes when Liberators are the most effective, is when the Protoss is maxed out. Even though they have such a big army, they should be able to get it. There might not be any Stalkers over there, and they just have to go all the way across the map to get rid of it.
Oh, that Planetary actually doing some serious defense for him right now against that Warpin. A huge amount of Liberators sieging up. He really needs to get those Tempests on top of him. In fact, he does have them.
Takes out one Liberator. Yeah, that was a bungled attempt there by those Adepts. when they shaded where the planetary was. I'm not sure if Classic had realized it and he just thought that they were killing SCVs for sure back there.
Look at this. They're both filling out everything at this point.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting Cloak right now for his Ghost. We have a Dark Shrine coming up. It's like, well, you already have everything. Dark Shrine is going to be useful for defense and harassment at this point.
Yep.
And the Tempest count continues to grow. I'm not sure exactly how many Tempests he's going for. It might be 6. But Vikings are being added in, so we could see, like, a massive Viking fleet come out eventually.
This is a weird moment where you have to respond to their tech by making more air tech for as Terran. But then it gets weird too, right? Because eventually, if, let's say you even win the fight, well then Vikings are not that great on the ground either.
Yeah.
You know?
It's they kill the Colossus, they kill the Tempest, but that is about it. After that, they are going to get wiped.
Oh my god!
That is a sick tag.
Again, the Tempest can poke that army. There's not just like a ton you can do about that.
Yeah, this becomes so hard because, like, to attack into someone is very difficult in this situation. Like, both sides are very good defensively, so he's going to siege up. He's going to see if he can do it here. Moving forward with these Ghosts, we see the Psystorms going down, but they're not hitting as much as he'd like.
Yeah, he's not getting enough BP Psystorms on that army. Looks like he still may have some opportunities to do some more damage over there. The infantry army is getting thinned out. The Vikings continuing to damage these Tempests. I'm not clear if there's enough anti-air there on the ground for Protoss. It looks like there was enough to make Terran turn around. That was very well handled. There by Classic.
Yeah, alive
with the 4 Colossi still alive, and dishing out those storms, the Protoss is still forced to make more Vikings.
Yes.
Yet Protoss still has Tempests. So this does lean a little bit towards Classic now.
I agree 100% with everything you just said there.
Thank you.
Done. Back to you, Tasteless.
All right.
No, you're completely right. Like, that was a solid defense there, and now aLive has to kind of rebuild his technicality, whereas most of the technicality was left over. So, you know, now we see Classic moving out. He does have that prism, can continue to warp in over there. A lot of Vikings being made. Oof, a lot of Vikings.
Yeah. At the same time, though, Protoss is building this ground army, by the way, with a decent amount of Stalkers. Now, we got to take a look at exactly how big the infantry army is here, because a lot of that was shaved off. It's actually kind of hard to tell just by looking at it. So many Vikings on top of it. But with enough Storm, with enough Colossi doing damage to those infantry, with the fact that he might have to focus down that Tempest, and with Stalkers being able to blink in, it's possible for Classic to take it. We got to just see. So this comes down to angling.
I like the army right now, actually, of aLive a little bit more. I'm surprised Classic is actually attacking this deeply.
Well, this is a disaster.
That Psystorm, holy.
Whoa.
That Psystorm got so many clump Vikings right there. My God, that was good.
Okay, he's not done yet. More Psystorm here on the Vikings over the infantry. And so many of these Vikings were gunned down. I don't think there are even any more Vikings in this fight. But aLive here with a pretty sizable army. He needs to get to where those Colossi are.
Yeah, the Colossi having to retreat a little bit here. Great micro on him, keeping him alive for this long.
He's just so good.
God.
Now, he got only 1 Colossi back there. The real story of this game, though, were the Psystorms on top of those Vikings.
Yeah.
He did not Psystorm the Marines. That's what he should have done. That was smart. He took out the air. There's enough Colossi on the ground that can hit all those Marines. Yeah. And he still has those key core units.
If he hadn't hit those Vikings, man, that would have been, like, he would have been wiped. I was surprised he was even attacking there. You know, the fact that 3-3 just finishes here for aLive, of course, he might not know that exactly, but when your opponent is now going mostly Vikings and you still have, like, a lot of supply in Tempest and Colossus, it gets a little bit scary, because if you lose that, suddenly you're like, your Mr. Gateway unit against Mr. Teched Out Terran.
Okay, he's coming forward. Some of the Stalkers blinking forward. Definitely not enough Stalkers to try to answer this. We need to see where these storms land.
Yeah, not that much bio here.
Yeah,
so.
once again, he goes for the Vikings. One Colossus still remaining. Storms, though, possibly enough to drive back Terran for a little bit longer. And now the the Tempests come in.
The Vikings all got picked off at this point, so he doesn't really have any anti-Tempest tech.
Sometimes Artos is in my head. I think of the Tempest kind of like it's a bigger Viking unit because it's got little horns coming out of the front like a Viking hat.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
You are right. And it's kind of like a Viking. It's just like an anti-air unit.
Yeah, yeah. So the fight continues on over here. The Viking count slowly targeting down these Tempests. That Colossus, okay, finally it is destroyed. Now he's even trying to go for the Warp Prism. Anything he can take out here.
This is a crazy game.
He got the Kala side, but then we got to check back and say, does Terran have everything else he needs to win the fight? Are there any Templars in here? I actually think there are not.
Yeah, I don't see any.
And I think actually aLive can win it now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. It's mostly Archons right here. I mean, Archons are good, but against this much bio, he can always back up under his Liberation Zones as well. Those Zealots getting chewed right through as they come up.
Yeah, there's still an Immortal back here targeting down some of these Marauders. But I think, I mean, as long as aLive was macro, and I can't imagine he wasn't, we see another set of units coming in over there. It seems like aLive should win this game. I think Classic just gets tipped over.
Yeah, this is just about it. His back has been broken. Yeah, he still has a bit of an economy, but his army, he just can't build it sufficiently strong enough at this point. It looks like he's just kind of going, look at this, Immortals, I like the idea. He wants to make something that can just wreck the gateway units, but he's never going to get enough together to do that.
Yeah, it's too hard. When Protoss loses all those key tech units at once, that's usually the point in time where things begin to fall apart.
Yeah.
If you can keep one part of your tech alive and covered, and then supplement the other part of that in its defense, not always, but sometimes sort of you can do that. But it's going to be tough, man. Now, that being said, Classic's still fighting back, pushing out on the map, despite aLive taking the other corners on the map. Oh, see, but that's all you got to do is take out some of those Templars.
Yeah, that was really great.
That's all Protoss guys has going for
Viking skill and Templars. Okay, very cool. Classic stays technically alive, but he is at half the army supply here of aLive. I like that base in the top left, by the way. That's kind of sneaky. Classic certainly has no idea that he's up there. A single Zealot would ruin the day of that base.
Well, when you have this much of the map in SC2, you spend so much time trying to just preempt drops and harass that sometimes you don't check for expansion right next to you.
Totally.
And we know for sure if the game goes on for super long, Classic's going to try to expand there. Oh.
Like right now.
There you go. And he was going to see, okay, now he's taking minerals from there. Of course, a game like this can be one where the entire map is going to be mined up. So if you can suck up some minerals on their side of the map, it's totally worth it, man.
Especially when you have mules. We haven't really seen him drop them there, so maybe a little bit of a mistake. But obviously, you know, he's been trying to scan, keep on top of things. aLive playing a fantastic game, though. Look at this. His army is maxed out at this point. He's got a really great composition as well.
Good ditch play here by aLive. He doesn't, like, panic and try to save this ridiculous base in the top left. Instead, he moves it back out and tries to attack up on the other side as he knows Protoss is going to be moving over there to the upper left.
All right, very few units left over. Oh, I love that. The Ghost drop, getting those 3-eyed Templars, and that's that, man. No way, no how is he holding on here.
Okay, everything is going to melt very quickly here. Nice storm there. Looks like the EMP didn't connect to that Templar. But again, everything else just too high in numbers for Terran. aLive takes game number 3 and has at least begun a comeback.
Dude, he played really well that game because I was in love with the opener Classic did. He scouted what was going on, blocked absolutely everything, got himself a great set of units. But aLive did a fantastic job there, getting into his ranged Liberators. We saw the couple of small tech switches, like into the Vikings and all that. And eventually just took out those technical units. I think on Classic's side, his mistake was actually the attack in where he even got the Storm on the Vikings. Like, things went as well as they could for him there.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't really that good. I think when you're that technical of an army, you really need to just sit down and get yourself maxed again, to be honest.
Yeah, sit back, wait, build up. This game, aLive knows, okay, in a long game, he can take out Classic.
Yeah.
Some of this might come down to the early game and mid game, though. Classic is pretty smart. He's got a weird play style. Mech Depot, by the way.
That's a big map. We could definitely see another game like we just saw.
That's what I was thinking.
It is a long one, so you know, maybe in that Supreme late game, Classic's having a bit of a harder time.
Let's go to game 4.
GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
In the upper right.
Classic.
in the bottom left in the red. He is.
My insanity, aLive.
Of course, you know.
Uh-oh.
Nice proxy game. Little proxy barracks coming up here. See if it's just like a proxy Reaper. Maybe he's going to proxy all of his tech. Definitely a possibility. I think that it's not a bad thing to try out. Generally, these really big maps I like for Protoss personally. I think you know, it's pretty hard for Terran to actually get the damage done in the mid game that so often they need, right? But
yeah,
aLive kind of proven us wrong, obviously, in that last game. By the way, I do want to mention that both these guys are. Hey, how's it going? Hope you're enjoying the day. He is, I can tell. But look, both these guys fighting for a BlizzCon spot still. Winning this match does not give it to them. Losing it takes it away. But the winner goes up against Innovation next. So that's not the greatest prize, to be honest, is it?
not really.
It's quite a tough road.
We have the Depot under attack here again with the tech in the middle of the map. That means the first SCV's killed off, which is actually pretty annoying when you're doing a proxy build.
Yes, I would say so.
Kind of annoying no matter what, but you know, considering that what you're trying to do has to be done perfectly in the next few minutes, having any hiccup like that at all is annoying.
And just the fact that like his probe is already over there and he's going one base Protoss holds on if you do it right against proxy Terran. So I'm definitely a little bit nervous here for aLive. You know, he's putting all of his tech out in the map, and yeah, okay, so he's going reactor to Cyclones, but that's just a brute force technique. Like if there was a Nexus, I would say yeah, absolutely, he's going to kill it. But and going up a ramp,
he's answering brute force with his own brute force.
Yeah,
and of course, yeah, there's only one point of access here, right?
On 3 gates, like the mothership core will allow you to hold on for long enough that your 3 gates get active, and then you just warp in stalkers, and high ground stalkers will absolutely defeat these. Oh, that's a good scan. Quality scan right there.
Oh my god!
Oh man. Never mind.
That was a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But of course, this can go all the way down here into the bottom left and start hitting stuff inside the main.
Yeah, that's a really good point right there. Definitely a great way to counter some of these plays, especially if his probe makes a pylon down there. That can just be game ending.
Oh! He gets one stalker.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge kill. Even spotting now with the rack, so he will never miss shots. Very fantastically planned out here by aLive.
Yeah, this is a very specific build.
But don't forget, the mothership core is on its way across the map right now.
More Colossi coming up now.
Uh-oh, he's starting to lose control here. The stalker even hitting that barracks at this point. That's not good.
Thing is that it's easier than it looks to micro away one of the weaker Colossi here. Not Colossi, Cyclones here. As he's coming in, though, doing a lot of damage. You can see how fast his damage stacks up.
Oh, man, a ton of damage indeed. So many stalkers ending up falling here. Even building Marines in his main base.
Yeah. Kind of an insane game here, Artosis.
By the way, he lost the mothership core across the map. We never got to see exactly what happened there.
It's a mystery.
That's
we assume some damage was dealt over there. Actually, he looks fine.
There was a missile turret. Oh my god, the missile turret got it. Well, he was micron, I guess.
Okay, this is actually getting really scary.
Yeah, it is.
Cyclones are not stopping coming out here, but this is a great play as well, making one Zealot.
Oh yeah, that Zealot can get some serious damage done as well, but those Cyclones in his base, man, they can kill all the buildings. The Zealot cannot.
Very true. Cyclone's coming up here. Oh my god, almost gets that one sentry.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to force field some units in.
Okay,
so he can
not bad, not bad. Cyclone getting lower and lower in HP, only one stalker remaining. He's trying to run away, but he bounces off his own stalker that was warped into the mineral patch. Targeting down here on this one mothership core. 2 orange stalkers, so low in HP.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This is just
such a nail biter.
The craziest micro war going on right now.
Okay, he gets one. Needs to get the other one back here. One Marine's about to pop out. There he is. 2 more Cyclones coming up. The injured Cyclone should be shuffled to the back.
If he could only get like a pylon up or something.
Oh God.
Man.
Gets one.
That's a big kill right there. He's going to lose the mothership core, it looks like.
Oh my god.
Well, at least that zones for a moment. Oh god, and he can actually hit the stalker. This is crazy.
This is an insane game.
Oh,
Pylon's gone.
Okay.
Pressure off of aLive. Now it's up to a Classic to try to survive this game.
aLive has a lot more workers than Classic, by the way. So even if he holds this,
oh my
which
God.
it does not look like is gonna happen.
Oh, I think Classic may be giving up here. He knows that there's going to be another 2 coming up any moment now. And we don't have a mothership core making, so there's no ability to rely on pylons in any way. GG. Oh man. Oh dude. Oh, it's happening.
Pretty crazy.
aLive.
So aLive coming back after going down 0-2 to 2-0 here. Game number 5, and it's going to be Abyssal Reef. Perhaps the greatest StarCraft 2 map ever made.
I think so.
Now,
how fitting for these 2 guys to fight.
We both thought
over
Classic
there
was going to take it, but
yeah,
aLive, he's on a heater right now. He has the momentum, the tempo going into this 5th and final game.
I love the barracks floating up there to spot, and then once he sees the exact moment where he's going to start putting pressure on that base, lands the barracks, just make even Marines out of. Every extra stalker shot counts. Anything you can do.
Yep.
Classic was smart, thinking on his feet, made a pylon, proxied it. Classic is not going to be able to out-micro aLive with the Cyclone.
Yeah.
So aLive with the Cyclone is a scary thing, Artosis. Abyssal Reef, the 101 map, as you were saying, possibly the best map in all of StarCraft 2. Classic will be devastated if he does not win here. He thought it was going to be a 3-0 by the time he entered game number 3. It may be a 2-5 or 2-3 for him.
2-5.
It may be a 2-1 million billion or houses. Nobody knows. Anyways, let's go to game 5. Abyssal Reef, Classic versus aLive. A fight to move on and face off against Innovation.
GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
In the upper left, in the blue.
Classic.
In the bottom right, in the red.
My Insanity. aLive.
It's the right song to play here.
Yeah. Well, this is the epic game number 5. Loser here loses hope for BlizzCon.
The sound of probes and SCVs teching up, warping in stuff. Marines being made, Cyclones being made. It's the intro for the game. Not StarCraft 2, this game.
Yes.
Classic versus aLive. That would be so insane if aLive reverse kills him.
Yeah, that
especially considering in game 4 he proxied with the Cyclones.
Well, I mean, it takes balls, and he definitely did it. I loved the barracks float up and just utilizing it like you were pointing out. It's just some great play, like really very well planned out. And the fact that he had the turret at home, because that is a very common way to try to counter these proxy builds. You send Mothership Core across the map, it's just constant damage on the SCVs. You'll just eventually kill them all, you know?
Yeah, and if you send one probe in there to try to make pylons around that, I mean,
yeah.
Because they either run and try to mine somewhere else, or they attack the pylons and die to the Mothership Core. But aLive definitely had that build fine-tuned. Imagine the switch in the overall morale for aLive here. You know?
Well, he probably felt like he was even out there. Even in game 3, it was definitely no sure thing for him for quite a while. So
yeah, for sure.
He's come back now, and I mean, this is a very playable map from both sides. Early game might even be like a little bit aLive favorite here. You know, there are some very special little timing push type things you can do to try to mess with Protoss. Protoss mostly guards against all those nowadays. Not nearly as abusable as it once was.
That's also why it was surprising in game 4 to see Classic go down to aLive with a build like that. That was actually like a snowballing proxy build that worked.
Yeah, well, that is the definition of Cyclone proxies, in my opinion. Like, if your reactor is Cyclone proxy, it's like the Cyclone doesn't have that much finesse to it. It's like it does a lot of damage and has a good amount of health, so it's like you normally don't see things that close, like what we just saw, right? It's a lot of times it's just a math problem. It's like, oh yeah, they break you here. Now that game was a little bit different, but
if you look at the rate of fire for a Cyclone compared to a Stalker, there's a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as you can keep some of the injured Stalkers, or sorry, not Stalkers, Cyclones alive for a little bit longer, the damage begins to stack.
Yeah.
And eventually it ramps up at this crazy rate, and Protoss just doesn't have enough stuff at his disposal to hold off against anything.
Looks like scouting with those Adepts a little bit. A really interesting Widowmine placement coming out of aLive here. That would be Widowmine placement to try to catch, an outcoming Oracle. Looks like he has rallied his Oracle, though, in a completely different direction. So that very tricky Widowmine not going to find a kill. At least not right now.
Oracle going all the way around. Both these guys going to hit each other at around the same time.
Yeah, by the way, this drop is really quick.
I think actually that Oracle might go into that Widowmine. See the one at the bottom? Am I crazy? Hold on. I gotta look at our screen over here. We've been casting this off the big screen, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. He's not going to go into it. The drop happens over here. Oracle coming in, taking out a lot of SCVs. Great initial attack here.
Yeah.
Back over here at the Protoss' base, nothing really in position just yet.
Ooh, he gets the Widowmine to go off on just a single probe, so that's actually really good for Classic. Brings in his own Oracle now, as well as some other units.
This Oracle's doing so much damage over here. The bunker not done yet. I don't believe I see a Marine on the screen here. Yeah. Okay, this is really bad.
It's a huge amount of damage. Well, this is the price you pay. You know, he's hitting a Widowmine drop before 4 minutes, 30 seconds. He's got a Widowmine out on the map trying to catch an Oracle as well. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too here, and Classic really punishing him for that.
He's trying to have his cake and eat it and then have it again.
Yeah.
That's like even crazier.
He's like a dog, puking it up and eating it again.
No, but I mean, that was crazy greedy. I mean, basically, the entire main of aLive is exposed. He's hoping that he's been intimidated enough in this series, he can go get in his face and leave the front door of his house unlocked.
Yeah, it didn't not
And I
work
think
out
Classic
for
just
him.
stole his TV. That's it. He
didn't
stole his
just
flat
steal
screen.
his TV.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
took all the silverware too.
Well, as you know, it's just silver-coated plastic. Look at. I mean, the supply, Tasteless. I don't want to say it, but it's crazy the worker advantage Classic has with a third Nexus, and his army is fine. Like, he's in such good shape here. Classic is,
Oh
aLive.
God.
Oh my God. Taking a page out of SOS's book.
Oh, he's like, gee, SOS, I know how to do this too.
How did he know which one? You see that, Tasteless?
Yeah, look at
he
that.
knew which one had stim. Now he gets combat shields.
I know this exactly.
Look, this is like literally exactly what SOS did.
Yeah.
This is so
Remember
funny.
when we were casting this last time we did this? I'm like, oh, I guess that's what you do.
Yeah.
I thought nobody else would do it like that, but that's what he does. He's like, no, you get the add-ons. It's not the workers. Well, it's like, but gosh, SOS, you can kill all the workers. He's like, no, that's not the point. I'm like, okay, I don't know this game anymore. So yeah, he just gets the add-ons there. The drops, he's trying to do a lot of damage here.
Well, he's got to get a lot of damage done. That many Oracles is across the map, killing all your add-ons. You better do something here. That single pylon being targeted down, definitely dealing some significant damage out. And it's hard for him to actually chase these medevacs down, to be fair.
No, right? I mean, there's way more speed on the side here of the Terran. But, you know, with the Oracles being here, this does begin to slow it down. Oh, my God.
Wow.
It was like the pylon opened its mouth to shoot the final laser out and hiccuped. The laser came halfway out. It was
I like the idea of a mouth on a pylon, and it shoots out of that mouth.
That's what I always think in my head.
But you got to tell me, the pylon has no eyes, right?
No, it's just a mouth.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a nose.
Maybe the nose is on the tongue. It smells with its tongue.
Oh my gosh.
That's how it knows it can smell the medevacs.
So it smells by licking.
That's by opening its mouth.
He just walks up to the pylon. Hey, do I smell good? Pylon's like, Tasteless, you're not tricking me again.
Well, now he's gonna get this medevac. Look at Classic. He's like, I'm so good that when he dumps all this out on the ground, I'm just gonna have my Adepts ready to shade wherever it is.
Literally exactly.
He's like, I'm just so perfect.
Oh, but aLive's like, I'm more perfect.
But what about the high ground? Oh, never mind.
Now he will get that medevac. A little bit of damage done to his Phoenix.
Okay, when he gets a chance to go back to this side of the map. There's a lot of oracles.
As a turret up there.
Even a turret can be picked up pretty fast if you have enough.
It's quite true. You might even do it.
Oh, no, watch this.
Some kind of careful micro right there. Enough coming in that he decides to run out of here.
But the Adepts are coming down now. He may be itching to combo the Adepts with the Oracles and just do too much damage on the ground.
You know what I love about StarCraft 2, by the way? Like, for a while, people will do a strategy against one race, and it'll be really good, and then they'll be like, wait a minute, what if I do this against another race? Right? Like, we saw that with Hydra Bane. Like, Hydra Bane was, like, really good against Protoss, and then people started doing it against Terran and winning, and it's like, whoa, why didn't we think of this? Mass Oracle, really good against Zerg, and then people are like, wait a minute, I can do this against Terran, just kill all his add-ons. What's up?
Yeah. So, Stim is done, by the way, for Terran. It was interrupted earlier by the Oracles coming in and gunning down the tech labs and reactors. So funny to see that that's, you know, a very specific thing you can do in PvT is to fly in, just when you know that their main's basically not covered.
Yeah.
And they always have turrets over the mineral area and not their production.
Yeah.
And you just kill off the tech lab.
It is pretty funny.
This reminds me of like when Jadong figured out to just get enough mutas and a pair of skirts, just find out exactly when the science comes out and hit it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's one way to do it.
Eventually, you get really good at this game.
Just get rid of the thing that they have to use.
Ooh! Sick Widow Mines right there. Oh my god.
Oh, and aLive's coming out now.
Uh-oh, Classic.
Says, I've got Stim, buddy.
Finally with that Stim upgrade done.
I've been juicing.
Dude, 14 probe kills so far.
Oh, never mind. Oracles are pretty good.
Yep. But still, that was good,
hey,
solid quality damage.
It's what he needed, right?
Still, though, that's a 4th Nexus, my friend. That's a good thing to have right now. aLive just now floating down to take a 3rd base. So his economy, even though he's got like a decent amount of workers in comparison to Classic, it's, you know, he's working right now on like 2 command centers. Or I guess actually that is a 3rd command center that he built in his main base.
I'm gonna do my Norm Macdonald cast. Be like, you know, the thing I really like about Nexus Artosis is when they're buying minerals and gas. You ever notice that?
Am I supposed to think that?
When they're buying minerals and gas, you can mine so
That is very Norm Macdonald.
That's
I like how it's not funny at all.
Oh, you don't think he's funny? I think he's pretty funny.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird. That's really weird that you would say that, because you're normally a pretty funny guy. But
oh man, you should have seen his last stand. It was actually pretty good. We got a Stim's coming down over here. And completely coming in and starting to push the entire Protoss defenses back, where the Nexus can actually be hit.
Looks like he might be able to kill that Nexus off right now. That single Colossus not doing quite enough. Taking a lot of damage, in fact, gets picked off. A great snipe there by aLive. In the meantime, he has lost quite a few SCVs to that counterattack.
You know, the Nexus is going to go down, and I have to say, this is actually kind of insane. Granted, aLive doesn't have that much going on back at home.
Yeah, eventually he'll be able to clean up these Adepts, but he's lost a lot of his economy right now. He does not have many SCVs. His army is strong, though. He's denied that 4th base for Protoss, and that's very crucial.
Yeah, oddly enough, he has more bases, but he doesn't quite have the workers to ever support it. So now, perfect engage here by Classic. aLive with half of his army out of commission now. The Oracle's coming in to just add insult to injury.
Dude, that Stasis Ward. Oh,
that's
my
it,
God.
GG.
Dude, I feel bad for aLive. It's like, hey, aLive, why didn't you go to BlizzCon? He's like, oh, Stasis Ward. Not that he would.
Well, not just any Stasis Ward, the Stasis Ward.
That was a baller Stasis Ward, no doubt about that.
Classic got to be happy about that. That was a great series. I'm glad we got it to game number 5.
Yeah.
Definitely a little bit more entertaining to see these guys neck and neck with each other. But unfortunately for aLive, this is not going to be the same tournament, especially Super Tournament, that we casted him before.
Yeah, he's not getting 2nd place here. He will not be going to BlizzCon. I mean, overall, his year was strong.
Sure.
The beginning looked like he was maybe going to be a champion this year. Didn't pan out for him. And sad to see him wrap up his keyboard right now. But you know what? Classic, this guy, he's still in the running, he's still in the race, but Innovation will be his opponent in 2 days.
That's going to be the ultimate challenge. He did beat aLive, but can he beat Innovation? He'll probably have to play better than he did today.
Yeah. Well, Innovation is a different beast. He's a stronger Terran than aLive, but plays a different style as well. aLive is a bit more aggressive. Innovation's a bit more macro-focused, so.
Poor aLive, man. We did have some awesome games, though, with those two. So best of luck to Classic going on. We now have 2 players that have made it on to the next round, the round of 8. By the way, I think we have some contests going on here as well, right? You guys have tickets here. Hang on to those. Keep them. We have a giveaway later on. If you're at home, you don't have one. Sorry. But don't go away. We'll be right back.
So let insanity rush release the mind. So alive, so alive, so alive. Makes me wanna